Fine. What are you doing? Oh, we are here. We are here once again on another edition of CU Sunday. We're back here on I guess, a post-holiday edition of CU Sunday, post-Thanksgiving holiday. What's going on, Kenneth?
I mean, it's post-holiday for you guys, so shout out to
Oh,
all the
yeah, that's right.
Americans for your American Thanksgiving. I was jealous sitting at work having football on the TV, but not truly getting to embrace the Thanksgiving spirit that you guys have down there in the U.S. So, no, super excited to talk some NFL today. Still riding high from that college basketball game last night between Duke and Gonzaga, an instant classic, and just excited to get into the NFL side of things. I mean, we got a not so full room today, and I think we know why that is, Coach.
Yeah, the game is less than an hour. The game, right? It's less than an hour away, so I definitely totally understand. Because if it was Duke and North Carolina playing on a Saturday after Thanksgiving at 12 o'clock, we wouldn't be here either. Trust me, And speaking of that, forget. You know what? I hate NC State. I'm not even going to talk about the game last night. That's why I was silent in the chat. I was like, "No, forget NC State." But anyway, let's talk from college football to now to the NFL. So, Kenneth, what is your Week 12 storylines that you're looking for this week?
Honestly, the storyline for me is the teams that are in that NFC wildcard hunt that have what we would call like easy matchups in air quotes. Can they take care of business this week? Because if they lose this week, like I'll mention three teams. The first one's Carolina. They're taking on Miami. Miami defense is solid, but so is Carolina's. They got Cam back there in his third game in uniform. So can they take care of business against a Miami team that, they've won a couple in a row, but we still don't consider them a great football team this year? Then you've got Philadelphia, a pivotal NFC East matchup, which they're taking on the New York Giants. But that's a game that you have to win. They just fired Jason Garrett. Saquon has not looked like himself since he's come back. I think they'd be better to just sit him the rest of the year, but we'll see what the Giants end up doing with him. And then you've got Atlanta taking on Jacksonville, which is another. You need to win that football game if you're going to make it in the NFC wildcard, because we've talked about it for weeks. We know 5 teams in the NFC that are going to get into the playoffs, but those last 2 wildcard spots, they're up for grabs. And even Minnesota taking on San Fran, another pivotal matchup in that wildcard position. So those teams have to take care of business this week. And so those are the ones that I'm going to be intrigued by, strictly because you lose to those bad football teams and you're probably out of the playoff hunt.
All right. Hey, and surprisingly, before I get to my Week 12 storylines, we got a special guest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's going on, Mo?
Hey, man, it's a great day, ain't it? It's rivalry week of college football. I get to talk NFL with y'all. Little adult beverages here and there. We starting early. We playing that team up north today, so it's a great day. I had to do something to pass this last hour before we partake in this butt whooping that we give Michigan today.
So we got I forgot it's XO.
It's not Mo. It's XO.
No M's today.
It's XO today.
It's XO today.
XO X Urfy.
So look, we're just going to say that for that one. I can't say XO all day. It's not gonna feel right. Mo. What's your Week 12 storylines? What you got this week?
You know what just got interesting? The NFC East. The NFC East just got interesting. I'm not saying per se that Dallas should be concerned, because they got opportunities to get healthy really before they play their NFC East opponents here in a few weeks. They'll be back healthy. So I'm not saying they should be concerned, but it's something they should be paying attention to. Philly played the Giants this week. That's a possibility. The way Philly's been looking at, that's an NFC East victory. Washington plays Seattle this week. That's a possibility that Washington gets another W and goes on a 3-game win streak. Let's just be honest. Like, they both have favorable matchups. At that point, I think Washington will be what? A game and a half? I think both Washington and Philly will be a game and a half out of the NFC East. Now, Ohio, you look at the whole NFC East as a whole, their schedules are fairly favorable for how all teams are looking. Like, yeah, Dallas has lost 2 in a row, but you also expect them starting next week to come back healthy, have Amari Cooper, have CeeDee Lamb. Towards, in a couple weeks, DeMarcus Lawrence coming back, Randy Gregory coming back. So I think that it's definitely favorable matchups, and with being fully healthy in the next couple weeks, Dallas. But so does Washington and Philly. So for teams seeking to get into that, wild card spot, like Kenneth was saying, you got Minnesota. Like, it's wide open. That them last 2 spots, we know as of right now, the 5 spots are secure. We think Dallas would still have the division secure, but it's still wide open, and it's getting closer than Dallas, we would like in Dallas. So I think that's a big thing to watch, especially because Philly and Washington both have games that, like, spoiler alert, I'm picking both of them for the week. So I think those are winnable games for both teams. And all eyes will be on Washington. They get the primetime Monday night game. So, everybody's going to be at home being able to watch Washington. And are they going to continue that win streak? They got 2 good wins against the Bucs and a team who's, that win against Carolina may matter later in the season. But obviously for, selfish reasons, all 3 of us, like that, the NFC East race is really something to pay attention to. We could talk about how bad they are, but as Dallas is trending downwards as of now, with a favorable matchup next Thursday with guys coming back healthy, but Philly and Washington trending upward to make it a close race and not make the NFC East is just as competent right now as almost as any other division in the NFC. I'll put it that way. They're just as good or just as bad, however you want to look at it, as any other division in the NFC. They essentially, all the NFC divisions got the same thing going on with guys close to the same record. So the NFC least hasn't been as bad as advertised, especially with Washington and Philly trending up. So for me, that's something to pay attention to.
Yeah. And Kenneth, you actually said something last week that was really interesting when you said Separation Sunday. I definitely think it's going to be a Separation Sunday in the AFC North. You got these 2. All 4 of these teams are playing each other in the sense. We got Cincinnati versus Pittsburgh, and then we also got Cleveland versus Baltimore in the Sunday night game. You look at a situation where this is a must-win for Cleveland, which is so funny to think. At 6-5, they're last place in their division. Like, it's just very interesting with that. And we look at maybe could this be the downfall of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Obviously, the tie against Detroit 2 weeks ago, then also the loss last week to the Chargers, which they almost damn near could have won. At that point, that's how that worked out. But I definitely think it's going to be definitely a Separation Sunday. And then also the Rams, can they bounce back after that horrendous Monday Night Football game and go to Green Bay? Because even to your point, Mo, you said there's 5 teams that we think for sure certain that 15 at LA Rams, if they drop that game, you looking at they starting to that could be a situation where we start looking at the Rams a little bit different. Especially
how
going
much
in at 7-4
matters too is like because of not only the Rams trying to win their division, but those 5 teams as of right now today, our mindset might change after Sunday or Monday, however you want to look at it. But those 5 teams right now, those head-to-head matchups, if they have, like, Cowboys play the Cardinals later on, the Rams and Packers play, the Bucs play. They play one of those teams. They already played the Rams, so they might play. I don't know, but they already played the Rams. So those head-to-head matchups, when you talk about trying to get first place, like if the Cardinals do falter, which I mean, the way they're looking, they might end up winning. Being the 1 seed because they haven't faltered without Kyler Murray. So, but if they do falter and those 5 teams start having like the same record, those head-to-head matchups are going to matter when Dallas plays the Cardinals in this game where the Rams play the Packers. Like, so those head-to-head matchups are going to give you a disadvantage. And I think those 5 teams are playing to not be the 4th seed. Like right now, Dallas would be the team to be screwed because I'm not saying you can't win, but to have to any team in the playoffs road to a Super Bowl, you don't want to have to play the Rams in the first round. Like you don't want to win your division and have to play the Rams. That's your prize for winning your division is playing the Rams. So I think that's another thing. That's why I think a lot of these teams, they're going to be trying to win all the way till late in the season because having to play that 5th seed is going to be having to play essentially the Cardinals or the Rams. And that's not a matchup anybody wants.
Right. And those type of matchups, you would rather play them in a divisional round than a wild card game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
you don't want to give yourself 3 tough games. Like that's what it boils down to. If you can get like a San Fran or a Minnesota, they could easily beat you, but they're also teams that are not quite what we think the Rams are, which is true Super Bowl contenders.
Exactly. Yeah. You want to avoid them at all costs. So, fellas, let's see. Our first matchup of today that we're going to discuss is the Titans versus the Patriots, which is actually going into the season, we would have looked at this matchup as like, it is what it is. But now this is a good matchup at this point. So, Mo, I want to get your thoughts on the Titans versus the Patriots. What you got?
It's not as great a game as it's supposed to be because AJ Brown's out. No Julio, no Derrick Henry, and New England's rolling. It's gonna be it's a tough ask to ask Tennessee to look good on the road in New England in Foxborough minus all your weapons. I'd give Tannehill a pass this week. This is a great defense. He has none of his weapons. What do you expect from him? If he plays great, Walker Bailey is going to be unbearable if he plays great. But if not, if that Patriots defense plays how they play with him with no weapons, the Patriots should handle this easily. It's going to take the Titans defense to step up big time for this game to be close. I don't really know if it's going to be relatively close just because Tennessee's so depleted offensively. You already playing a great defense. You're missing your three best weapons outside your quarterback. That's such an unfortunate event for such a hot team, even though I say they're hot after coming off a loss against Houston. But they'll be going on a 2-game losing streak. But boy, I would love Tennessee to win this game. I really would. I would love Tennessee to look great. I'd take Walker Bailey's trash talk because I'm tired of people buying into the Patriots, talking about they Super Bowl contenders and all that. So I would love Tennessee with no Julio, no AJ Brown, and no Derrick Henry. They cut Adrian Peterson. We only know McNichols might play. He's been banged up. So we only know what their running back is at this point. And who's their best receiver right now? Ferksker? We don't even know how to say his name. So I would love Tennessee to beat New England, but I just see zero. I got 0% chance. Maybe if they were in Tennessee, okay. But in New England, nah. Not with how hot New England's been against bad teams. Essentially, Tennessee right now, no Derrick Henry, no Julio, no AJ Brown. That's not a great team. You can't hold them to high expectations that you've held them to with essentially nobody on offense.
Yeah. What you got, Kiff?
I mean, from a betting perspective, this line is a nightmare because it opens at -5.5, and I take New England all day. But when you start getting to a touchdown against a team that is still the number 1 seed in the AFC, are they not? I think they're still number 1.
Yeah.
Even as depleted as they are, how do I take them as take a touchdown against them? I know that they're without the weapons and yeah, I mean, this is a lose-lose game for us because if Tannehill looks like crap, then Walker gets to tell us, well, he had no weapons. Tannehill looks great, then he gets to brag about how great Tannehill is. So it really is a lose-lose for us.
I'm okay with it though. This the one week I'm okay with it.
And that's why I'm not even talking Tennessee this week. As soon as we're done this show, I will not be commenting on this game moving forward. So New England, the defenses looked great, running games looked great. I think overall that's going to be the key to the game. If New England starts running downhill with this running game that they have, Mac Jones makes a few throws here and there because that's what he is. Let's face it, he's not going to beat you by throwing for 350, 3 touchdowns. That's just not who he is. In his rookie season, I will say, there's still plenty of room for improvement there. But I mean, if they run for 150 yards, this game's going to be over early, and I could see them winning this game 35 to 10. I feel like it could get to that point, but I mean, it's tough because Tennessee, it feels like we've been counting them out all year. Oh, well, they're playing this team. They're playing Buffalo, and then they beat Buffalo. Oh, they play Kansas City, and then they beat Kansas City. That being said, they won those games with Derrick Henry, with Julio, with AJ Brown. So I'm taking the Patriots to win this game. I'm not betting this game. I think you fade it all together. Even when you're looking at the point total, 43.5, this game could be 35-7, but it could also be a pretty close 28-24 type finish. So just don't bet this game. That's my advice. Leave it alone. It's a trap line when you start getting to a touchdown, especially when the team that is the underdog is the number 1 seed.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, I think this is pretty much actually a matchup good for New England. I think you look at what with their pass defense, what they did to poor Matt Ryan last week, kind of pretty much. And I think it could be another situation that Ryan Tannehill could be in another funk again, because last week he threw 4 interceptions. So you look at from that standpoint, I definitely think New England's pass defense is going to come to play. The thing with Tennessee was really baffled me last week was we always talking about how they're good as far as their pass rush. You look at guys like Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, and those guys. And I think combined, I think the whole unit had 31 sacks all season, but they didn't even get to Tyrod last week. I think they got 1 hit but 0 sacks. So that's kind of one of the things that's really concerning. I thought, we know Derrick Henry's the bread and butter. This was maybe the butter knife, potentially the other strength to it. So I definitely think New England's going to take this matchup. Like you said, I think it's a perfect matchup for New England. And for them to win this game.
Right. Yeah, it is. And isn't it crazy though? The one thing I've thought, what Kenneth said it to kind of, but the 2 teams that are leading each conference are teams that they're not going to get it done. They've had every excuse not to get it done. Like as far as us saying like, nah, they're good, but they're not beat the Buffalo Bills good. Nah, they're good, but they're not going to beat this team good. Oh no, Derrick Henry's gone. Like they're about to head downhill fast. Like, and they've, against all odds, and the Cardinals is the same thing. Like Kyler Murray, they're 2-1 right now without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. Regardless of who the matchup is, it's not like the Cardinals. I mean, they've played the Panthers, they got smacked, but it's not like Cardinals played the Jets and the Texans back to back, having to win without Kyler Murray. Like, yeah, you don't play great teams essentially, but at the same time, like you're playing without your quarterback and your star wide receiver. There's not a lot of teams that have a backup quarterback that can do a feasible job and go 2-1. For the Arizona Cardinals. So with Colt McCoy having he's had a game where he looked like this was the best he ever looked in his career, including Texas. So
and that's why the Giants shouldn't have let their franchise QB walk like that.
I mean, the way he looked like he got some people biting their nails. Like, man, we let a good one go, huh? Like, Kingsbury got the best out of Colt McCoy. As much as I've trashed Cliff Kingsbury, hey, my guy, you made Colt McCoy look like a great quarterback right now. So
I take any opportunity to take a shot at the Giants or the Eagles. Like Couch is the host of this show, so I leave Washington alone while I'm on CU Sunday. He's like, I don't want to get put in the waiting room, but like, man, the Giants and the Eagles, like, I hope that they tie. I hope that they tie 0-0.
And it's crazy when it just comes like Washington. When it comes to the NFC East, Washington is the least hated team for me. And because they used to have players that I like I loved Clinton Portis and Sean Taylor, Santana Moss. Like I loved that. I loved those guys back in the day. Jason Campbell at quarterback. Like I liked this big behind too. So they had some players that I used to love when I was younger and wasn't like a full blown crazy fan. Yeah. So like Washington's the team like I hate the least just because their history and back. I remember the Gibbs era and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like that was when football was really great. Like you go back there, when football was really great when those them eras that football was so great. Jake Delhomme at Carolina.
Yeah, to me, it's more so like it's just a hate with Dallas. I think more so. I can stomach the Eagles. I can stomach the Giants. Like when they went for their Super Bowls, I was cool with it.
I think it's the fan bases that does it because like Philly fans, like we know what Philly fans are. Right. New York, that's just New York for you. Like it's their teams. Like it doesn't matter. Like the Knicks. Like the Yankees, whatever, like so that's just how they're going to be. And then Dallas being America's team, despite not having a Super Bowl in 25 years, still gets to people, I think. So like you take those 3 and then you just kind of got Washington, where it's like, like they were really great 80s, 90s, like they're starting to come back a bit in these last couple of years. And it's like, so they're the team that like people don't hate because like you don't see like insufferable Washington fans is more so what it is.
Rob did say Dallas is now his not most hated team. It is Tennessee Titans.
I have no idea why that would be the case for Rob. I couldn't point to a single reason why.
Hour-long arguments they've had for why he hates Tennessee.
I mean, I understand. I mean, if someone said that their favorite professional football team could beat a 9th ranked team in college football. Yes, and we took that personal and we put it on the Washington Football Cast and we got it on wax. So, hey, I understand, Rob.
This is enough Walker Bailey talk. Let's get moving. Like, it's already making me mad. It makes me want to grab a solo cup like Mo.
Let's talk about one of the matches that I kind of talked about earlier. The Browns versus the Ravens in a Sunday night football. Baker Mayfield comes to the Avenue in Baltimore. So, Mo, your thoughts on this matchup?
Am I the only one who is like upset that this is the Sunday night football matchup? I think this is a boring game, if you ask me. Like, I think it means a lot. Like, it does mean a lot. I don't think this is a great game. Either A, Baltimore blows out Cleveland, and it's not a great game. Like, unless you're a Baltimore fan and, or you're a Lamar Jackson truther, then, sticking up for Lamar Jackson, he may have the game of his life to prove that he's a great quarterback or whatever. Pay him his money. If he hasn't already done that to you, I don't know what else he could do for you to say pay that man his money. Or this is a close, low-scoring defensive game, which I'm not a defensive guy. Okay, so I do not see Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson getting into a shootout. Like, I don't see that. I see Lamar Jackson having his way with Cleveland's defense, or it'd be a low-scoring defensive affair. So, I just don't know if this game is like it's not the most exciting game for me. It's one of the most meaningful. It might be the most meaningful game of Sunday, but as far as just not being a fan of either team and sitting here having to watch it, I don't expect this game to get me out of my seat like I would have last year. I don't have the expectations for this matchup like I would have last year when both of these teams were really, really good. But I mean, it's going to be close. So maybe down to the wire is one of those, did you see that? But I think this is a low scoring game. And I personally, in close games, I'm not a fan of low scoring. I'm not a fan of defensive juggernauts. That's just me. I love the touchdowns. I love the celebrations. I love the 42-45 games. I don't love, like Rob said, I don't love the 14-9 games. That's one of those, I could, what basketball game is on. If it start leaning that way, who's playing the NBA right now? But I think the Ravens win. Baker Mayfield is beat up. I'm going to get yes, he is beat up. He's already not a great quarterback. And then to be beat up, that just makes it worse. Had to throw my Baker shot in there. But I mean, Lamar Jackson kind of is everything is advertised. If you count against them, this man has had the Ravens and Lamar Jackson have had every excuse to not be a great team. They lost their 1 and 2 running backs in J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. They lost their cornerback 1A or however you want to consider them, and Marcus Peters. That was going to be a deadly secondary had Marcus Peters played all year. They lost 2 offensive linemen. They had Rashad Bateman out for the first 6 weeks of the season. They've had every excuse due to injury and missing personnel for the season to be a mediocre team. And yet, they've had a couple bad losses, but at the same time, they're still one of the top teams in the AFC. And that's solely on the back of, I think, Harbaugh being a really good coach and Lamar Jackson being a really good football player. Whether you think he's a top 3 to 5 quarterback, no, but he might be the best football player in the NFL because he just, whether it's with his arms, with his legs, whatever, he knows how to get the job done. And that's pretty much what you ask for a quarterback is, you can throw it, you can run it, whatever you can do, just get the job done. And essentially that's what Lamar Jackson does. So I'm going to take Baltimore here. Like I said, it could go one of 2 ways. So I'm going to go with Rob. I'm not going to say 14-9, but I think Baltimore wins 21-13.
Kenneth, what you got?
This game for me has upset written all over it with Cleveland pulling out the win. Chubb and Hunt both going to be playing by the looks of it for Cleveland, which is huge. Defense on Baltimore is banged up. I do think that it is going to be low scoring as well. Vegas has the point total at 47, which I think is they're daring you to take the over, which you really shouldn't in this game. It's I think best case scenario, we get 24-21. To me, that's the absolute best case scenario.
Over
47. I take the under there all day because I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
24-21. And even if a team does score 30, I think it's because the other team's been that bad. And it could be 30-13. I really do. So I take the under in the game. I do lean Cleveland though, as a whole. I just think that they've got a ton of talent on the defensive side. I think that they match up well with Lamar in that sense. We don't know what Lamar's weapons are going to look like either because Hollywood Brown is still questionable as well. So if he doesn't have him, then I think that that's an even bigger loss for them. So I think Cleveland wins this game. Baker gets no credit for it because it's going to be Chubb and Hunt that are going to be the main reasons why they do. And it's just a regular Monday of talking about the fact that Cleveland won, but Baker shouldn't get paid. And we get to listen to Mo say that for the 17th time this year. He's not wrong. Like I'd like to clarify. It's just like we really belabor the point of Baker Mayfield doesn't deserve $30 to $35 million on the show. So like I had to point that out that like if they do win
30, I'm just not okay. I look at him as like everybody else is getting 40
like
plus.
You don't play 30 plus.
Yeah, that's where like I give him 30. Like, but I look at him, I criticize him because I look at what everybody else is getting paid, and it's 40 plus. Therefore, like if you that's what it is. Like if Baker doesn't get 40, then either his team failed him or he's admitting he's not that great. And I don't see with Baker doing all the talk that he do, I don't see him taking a pay cut because once you take a pay cut, you kind of ruin it for the market. That's why outside of Tom Brady, that's why guys don't take pay cuts. They maximize how much money they can get, especially at quarterback, because it's always a next man up league, regardless of position, essentially. And when you step back and take a pay cut in your prime, like when you're supposed to get paid, you take a pay cut, you ruin it for the next guy. Because if he doesn't play the expectations, he'd be like, well, Baker took a pay cut to make the team great and build a team around him. So why don't you? Because you're not a top 5 quarterback.
Then they just like start pinching their pennies. Like instead of paying the guy like 36 or 38, they're like, what about 34? Because like that couple million, we could go and get this. Like that's kind of how it ruins it for guys. So I agree with you there.
Yeah. I think the one of the biggest keys is it's gonna be a running game. I think on both sides. When you look at just the simple fact of my biggest thing is, can Cleveland hold Baltimore's run? You look at last week, DeAndre Swift went off on them. The damn near almost won that game against Cleveland. Detroit did. And then you look at Baltimore, their run defense. You look at the simple fact of what they did against Chicago last week, kind of held Chicago in check. But like you said, but now you bring in a new element, bringing back Chubb and also bringing back Kareem Hunt. So that's just one of those things where it's kind of an interesting matchup, and it's on the road. And I think to make the NFC North more interesting, give me Cleveland in this matchup as well. I think it's just going to make it even more interesting and make it intriguing down the stretch. And they really have to win this game because, I mean, to me, they're 1-1 in the division. You don't want to go down 1-2 at this point and half your games you're below. If you're falling under 500 for your divisional games at this point. So it's a must win for Cleveland, I think, at this point, with them being in last place.
This game and you dropped 6-6 with all the divisional games that are left, I think that you're in a really bad spot.
Yeah, I agree there. Right. Yeah, absolutely. So which could potentially, I know most of the time it should have been flexed out. This game potentially should have been flexed in, potentially. We got the Rams versus the Packers. This definitely, I think, could have been one that could have been flexed in. But so, Mo, your thoughts on the Rams versus the Packers matchup?
This is one of the biggest matchups of the weekend as well. I mean, like we said, we look at the NFC, we look at those 5 teams, the 4 teams leading their division and the Rams, and we all know they're going to be fighting for that 1 seed or fighting to not be the 4 seed, whatever. However you want to look at it, you either want to buy or you don't. For the consolation prize, you want to be the 2 or 3 seed. That's what these guys are fighting for. That's what the division winners are fighting for. And the Rams are also fighting to win their division. But this will be a game that'll be key later on down the line, regardless of the winner. I'm taking the Packers, though. Like, I'm a rock with the Packers. I'm a rock with Aaron Rodgers. I think it's a close one, though. And I think this is a shootout because, and people have pointed out to me throughout the week that, well, I don't know, because Aaron Jones, I think A.J. Dillon is the running back that you want in this matchup anyway. We've seen tough, strong running backs, not the elusive ones, take advantage of the Rams' defense and pound it, down their necks, down the field. You want a north and south guy. You want a guy to go north and south. You don't want a guy that's going east and west in this kind of matchup. You want a guy to hit the hole and go. And if you could get 5 yards, cool. If you could drop your shoulder and get an extra 2 to 3 yards, even better. And I think A.J. Dillon is the running back that's prime for this matchup. Now, you would miss Aaron Jones just because he is another receiver. out of that backfield, let's just be honest. Like, you got Valdez-Scantling, Aaron Jones, and Devonta Adams are your receivers. And this is going to be a great matchup. This is the one-on-one matchup of Jalen Ramsey versus Devonta Adams is probably the matchup of the week. Like, when Jalen Ramsey plays a top-tier receiver, it's always a great matchup. And sometimes guys win. This is one guy, one of the very few, and I say very few because there's only like 3 guys I've heard Jalen Ramsey give respect to. And it's DeAndre Hopkins and Devonta Adams is the other guy. And it was one more. But outside of that, Jalen Ramsey don't respect no other receiver. He don't give no other receiver credit. He doesn't really, give any other guy that I've been got once or twice. It's been by Hopkins. It's been by Adams. So I think that Devonta Adams in that Jalen Ramsey matchup is great. I think Valdez-Scantling is the X factor. He had a big game last week. I think Aaron Rodgers is looking to him. And we know that playing against the Rams defense, wide receiver number 2 has had big games typically, especially as of recent, taking advantage of the other corner on the other side. Jalen Ramsey has been very frustrated about it because he can't travel and stop both. So if Valdez-Scantling has a big game, Ramsey can't get off of Devonta Adams and leave him in a one-on-one matchup to stop Valdez-Scantling. So if I'm Green Bay, you have to beat him outside of Devonta Adams. Get him when he beats Ramsey, which will probably be very slim to none just because that's a great matchup. But I'm going to take the Packers in a close one. I say this game is 34-31 Green Bay.
What you got, Kenneth?
This is a deceptive game. They put the line at the exact same, actually, as that Browns-Ravens game at 47 points. Like, they're daring you to take the over, which, like, if you actually look since week 5, the Packers have only crossed that 47 total once, and that was last week against Minnesota. Like, the offense, like, they aren't what they were last year. Like, they really aren't. Like, Rodgers has been good, like, outside of, like, should I, like, stick my toe up on the table while I do this? Or, like, but, like, the offense hasn't been what it was last year. Like, they were blowing teams out last year. They were crossing 30 regularly. Like, missing Tonyan is big for them. I actually think Aaron Jones, it sounds like he's been practicing, so there is a chance that he could go anyways. But it's not a big drop-off if it's A.J. Dillon, regardless, as Mo talked about, because, like, he's still a really serviceable back there for them. I think the key in this game is Rodgers' mobility, because when you got Aaron Donald on the other side, like, if they create pressure in this game, I think you could see a Rams blowout in Green Bay. Like, I really do. But I think he's going to be able to do just enough of getting out of the pocket. He's been practicing, but, like, he's clearly hobbled. Like, it's pretty obvious that he is. And I think that they're looking forward to their bye week. I think it's next week for Green Bay. So this is kind of their big game before they head into that. So I take Green Bay to win at Lambeau. Barely. Like, I think even you look at the line, it's like -1 or -2. Like, this is Vegas saying, like, I don't know who the hell's going to win this game. So I'm rolling with Green Bay, the home team. They got Minnesota with the win last week. They're starting to breathe down their neck a little bit in the NFC North. And so I think they take care of business this week.
Yeah, this game is going to be really, really interesting. Like you said, I just like the fact, like you said, to most points, as far as everybody does about Aaron Jones. But like you said, I think A.J. Dillon is definitely going to be a key in this game for them. Obviously, the matchup with Devonta versus the Sasquatch, a.k.a. Jalen Ramsey. One of the biggest question marks for me, I think, with the Rams is their pressure. That's another team that's, we talked about as far as almost damn near leading the league in sacks with 29 at this point. It did get any sacks 2 weeks ago against San Francisco, but then also you have Aaron Rodgers Packers team that have had Aaron Rodgers sacked 22 times in 11 games. So could this pass rush come alive for this LA Rams team? And can the Cooper Kupp and let's say Cooper Kupp. Yeah. So, and the Matthew Stafford matchup, connection be reconnected. They were pretty much on such a good clip at a point where we were looking at them, and it kind of tailed off from our expectations because obviously, in the beginning, it felt like it was, that was just going to be this all world, and then him and Eric Stokes, that matchup, I think that's also another interesting matchup too when you look at Eric Stokes and Kupp. as far as that's concerned. But in a weird way, I kind of got a strange feeling that the Rams gonna win this game. Even though it's weird to say that having Green Bay losing 2 straight games, but I don't know. This game is gonna be definitely interesting. But give me the Rams to take that road win.
This is a toss up for me. Like it really is. Like this is.
I wouldn't bet on this. I wouldn't bet.
Yeah.
Also, let's keep in mind, like Arizona beat the Rams, but then Green Bay beat Arizona. So like it would be kind of fitting if the Rams then beat Green Bay, because with the way the NFL season has gone, everybody's beating everybody, and like week to week, like you're right. Like, I don't know, this team looks like they should win by 2 scores, and then they get blown out. So it's been weird.
I know it is. Yeah, and that's the game would go that way as far as what that is concerned. So, fellas, your game to watch this week, Mo. Your game to watch this week.
There's a lot. There's actually a lot of games to watch. I'm gonna go with the Bucks and Colts though. Yeah. Sorry, Ken. Did I take yours?
Yeah, you did.
I could go another round.
No. You go. I got one.
But I'm gonna go the Bucks and Colts. I spoke on another game, which was the Eagles Giants, just because to see if the Eagles were gonna continue on their, looking like they're on the right way to up instead of heading back down. But I'm gonna take the Bucks versus Colts. They're 3-point favorites on the road against a hot Indy team, right? And it's so wild to me that a 6-5 Indianapolis Colts team, people are now trying to convince me that they're Super Bowl contenders. So is that a testament to we think the Colts are that great, or is that a testament that we're talking about how bad the AFC is? I think it's the latter, and I think we're talking about how bad the AFC is, that a 6-5 team, right? Because you're not saying a 6-5 team or a team that just got over 500 could win the NFC. Like, nobody's saying that right now. So therefore, like, that, it's crazy, man. They do look hot. But I think the problem, this is a bad matchup for the Colts, because Carson Wentz is not going to win you games. He won't lose you games for the most part. He's lost a couple, but I don't think the way he's been playing right now, they even put him in a situation to lose you games. But like even last week, like they won on the backs of Jonathan Taylor. Who has the best run defense in the NFL? Yeah. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this is not a slight to Washington football team, but I just want to say this is how great their run defense is. People were saying that Antonio Gibson had a great game. He averaged 3 yards per carry, but he had a touchdown. So that just, to me, that goes to show he had 2 touchdowns on the goal line. But I'm saying that goes to show how great their defense is, that a guy like Antonio Gibson, you felt like he probably had the best performance as a running back, and he still averaged 3 yards per carry. So like the Bucs had a great rush defense, but because Gibson was able to find the end zone at the goal line, their offensive line was able to win a battle once or twice. To me, that just is not a knock on Washington or anything, but it's like when you see a guy average 3 yards per carry, gets in the end zone twice on the goal line, you're like, man, we took advantage of the run game. That just speaks volumes to what the rest of the nation thinks about the Bucs run defense. So I don't expect Jonathan Taylor to have a huge game. Can he break off a big run or two? Yes. So could he reach over? I wouldn't predict that he reaches over 100, but could he just off of one big play or two? Yeah. But to beat Tampa, you have to beat them throwing the ball. And do I really trust Indy doing that? That's my problem, is you're not going to beat Tampa on the ground, at least up to this point. But because I said that, now Jonathan Taylor has 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, two receiving touchdowns, and he throws for 1. So because I done said you don't beat him on the ground, but really,
if Taylor does that, like MVP discussion.
Oh yeah, he's there. Yeah.
If he has a Booby Miles type game, bro, the MVP discussion is over. Like he can run, bro.
We're gonna think it's Melvin Gordon at Wisconsin,
right? Exactly
on his feet. But I just don't see. I don't see them winning. I think it could be close, but to take advantage of Tampa, you have to take advantage of them in a pass game. Look at their close games and their games where they gave up a lot of points. Back in week 1 when they played against Dallas, a lot of pass yards were going around, not a lot of rush yards. Even against Atlanta was able to take advantage of their pass defense, but their defense is so bad that they couldn't stop Tampa to save their life. So it's one of those, like, teams have taken advantage of their secondary, but that front seven, nobody yet up to this point has really had a great game. Outside of if we want to say Antonio Gibson did, but after that, that just is a testament. So I'm going to take the Bucs, and they cover on the road. Tom Brady's playing for an MVP. he might not be thinking about it in the back of his head, but he wants that MVP at his age. Would he be the oldest guy to ever win MVP? Just one more accolade to the GOAT Tom Brady. He's chasing the Super Bowl, so no game is a slight to him. So I'm going to take the Bucs -3.
And it's funny that you say that, Mo, because a lot of people, we didn't think he was going to do it against Buffalo either. They're another kind of team as far as stout when it comes to the run as well. So, like you said, if Jonathan Taylor has that type,
if he does that against Tampa's defense,
you can cancel Christmas
in the discussions. Like
we
got to start
Christmas.
talking about him
big time.
Because Buffalo's rush defense isn't the Bucs run defense. But he did. I'm not taking away from their defense. I'm just saying.
The last couple weeks has basically put Jonathan Taylor in the offensive player of the year discussion with Cooper Kupp. Like it really is those two. Like he won't win MVP because it's a QB award, but puts him in the conversation for player of the year.
Yeah, it definitely does.
He leads it if he takes advantage and has a big game. And I don't need 180 yards or nothing, but if he could give me 120 and
100 yards and 2 touchdowns, like
he's good, right? He'll be in the conversation.
Sounds like at that point, conversation, he's leading. Like he's got to be at least leading offensive player of the year, unless Cooper Kupp in the same week has a huge.
He goes off, right? That's the thing. If that connection comes back together,
that's also possible. I think Odell is the guy with the big game this week.
So do you want to know my game of the week?
Yeah,
Panthers and Dolphins.
No, this is strictly from an evaluation standpoint. The Jets versus the Texans. Like hear me out on this with these two teams. Because we've got Zach Wilson playing again. Like he's going to start this week. Going up against a bad Texans team. Like if Zach Wilson is going to be anything, he has to have a good day. He really does. I know that he's coming off the injury and everything, but like you have to come in and take advantage of a game like this. Like they're starting Tyrod, Tyrod's a better QB than him right now. But if you are actually going to be a serviceable QB for the Jets moving forward, you got to at least show some type of promise this game. Because if he comes out and throws like 2 picks and like throws for 130 yards, like it's a wrap. Like just pack it in. Go draft another QB. Like go find somebody. I'd rather you start Joe Flacco for a year, wait a year to draft a QB. Like, so this is one of those games where like it's also going to affect the draft position because those are the bottom 2 teams outside of Detroit. Like the winner of this game, they may not win a game the rest of the year. So this really could determine draft position.
In the 2nd and 3rd pick in the NFL draft.
It really could. So like, that's why I think it's a game to watch strictly because like, look, I'm not going to be tuning into this game, but if you're watching it from like a draft standpoint, I think it has a ton of value there because we're assuming like, even if Detroit wins a game, they're not winning 2. So like they're going to be the number 1 pick next year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, good spin on that one. Yeah. Cause like you said, this is a big game for Zach Wilson. Cause if he don't show up, like he got to,
cause there's zero fantasy value in this game too. Like if you own players on the Texans or the Jets, like your team's in trouble. Like
don't say that cause I got Elijah Moore starting. So don't say that.
Okay, fine. I'll give you Elijah Moore, but like you're not starting one of the 17 running backs they have. You're not starting like I guess Brandon Cooks. Like you might start him. But overall, like there's no fantasy value either. So like
crazy.
Let's just we may not see them on Red Zone because it might be a 9-6 game.
let's put
7 hours.
Like Kenneth said, the game to watch is the game that he will have zero interest in watching. Like, let's just put that in perspective. Hey,
from a draft perspective, it's a game to watch.
From a perspective that I'm not tuning into this game. But for you draft junkies that want to see whether you buy into Zach Wilson or not. Perfect game to watch.
He made a compelling argument, especially
game. Why not? Yeah, but this is the only opportunity that I had to mention either of these teams as a game of the week. So I'll take it.
Ever until maybe next September.
Because we wouldn't have mentioned those 2 teams on CU Sunday the entire year. So like, let's just get it out of the way. Like, I'm not actually watching this game.
We talked about the Jets because of my Zach Wilson slander, but
well, yeah.
Yeah.
So Mine's actually is going to be 2 playoff teams: the number 6 seed versus number 7 seed in the NFC. The Minnesota Vikings versus San Francisco 49ers. Though these 2 teams, they're really interesting. Both of these teams are kind of surging in the right direction. Obviously, with the Vikings beating Green Bay last week, and then San Francisco beating Jacksonville. A win is a win in the league. But yeah, so I'm kind of curious about San Francisco. I'm curious what they're gonna do. And now what this little wrinkle that the offensive genius that is Kyle Shanahan is put Debo at running back. It was really compelling and kind of befuddling, but it worked.
He's been last week. Debo has got 2 touchdowns as a running back.
Correct.
And I got so I love it.
Right. So I'm just like, that's another element that kind of threw me for a loop. So now could this be something that he can be using going forward? And then with Minnesota, you think about it, would a pass defense show up in this matchup? Also, Kirk Cousins, that's another kind of game for him to kind of prove himself. He's like I could say him the seasoned Baker Mayfield in the sense where people are hardcore him every other week. So
Baker Mayfield. I've never heard that one. That's so good and accurate.
Right.
So Kirk Cousins is seasoned Baker Mayfield. Oh, that's so good.
Right. That's be making Baker Mayfield about 7 to 8 years from now.
Yeah,
potentially. And this, and that's one thing too, where could they, and like this is playoff positioning, because I think even if one of them lose, then like we talked about, other teams that kind of can move up. You look at like Carolina got a favorable matchup. Also, it's just one of those things where one of these teams might lose their footing in the wild card picture at this point. So one to be in and probably one to be in the hunt. So, going into December, that could, that could be, something to look forward to.
Yeah. All right, let's rapid fire these pick sixes, and then we'll get Mo out of here so he can start getting his Hennessy on.
Yes, indeed.
I'm looking. I'm like, we got 10 minutes till kick off.
Yeah, we got you.
Full turn, baby. I'm ready.
Yeah, hey man, just chill in the neighborhood. That's all, brother.
Yeah, I'm ready.
That's what's going
baby,
on.
I'm ready. Couch coach out there hanging and swinging tonight.
Yeah.
In the button up.
So we got pick 6. So we got Pittsburgh at Cincy. What you got, Mo?
I'm gonna take Pittsburgh. I'm gonna do it. I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Oh, Kenneth, what you got?
Cincinnati upset because the NFL doesn't make sense this year.
Yeah, give me Cincinnati.
It just doesn't make sense.
We got the New York. We got NFC East brethren, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants.
Because I have to pick, I'm gonna take Philly.
I'm taking the Giants in the upset.
Because the NFL doesn't make sense.
Because the NFL doesn't make sense this year. Like, we thought Philly's good because they won a couple games. Like, they're starting to turn it on. No, then they lose to the Giants, and then they go back down to being poverty again.
You know what? I'm in the fight for my NFC life. Give me the Giants.
He's gonna take the team that's the least threat to Washington football team right now. I'm taking.
Yeah. 100%.
That's what you're supposed to do.
The last win of the rest of the year.
It's also a division game, so like
it's a division game.
Happens all the time.
And Michael Strahan,
isn't it?
Yeah, and Michael Strahan getting his jersey retired tomorrow. Go blue. So we got Minnesota and San Fran.
I'm gonna take Deebo Samuel and running back you over there, and I'm gonna take Deebo Samuel because they're at home. I'm gonna take San Francisco at home.
Kirk Cousins continues on his MVP charge with his third straight win.
Yeah, they're gonna do us a solid this week, Rob. Absolutely. Give me the Vikings in this matchup. Give me Kirk Cousins and them boys. All right, we got the Monday Night Football game. We got Seattle versus Washington. Who you got, Mo?
Well, I've already said that I think Washington wins this game, so I'm gonna go with Washington. Coach, I said I was gonna stay away from your team and picking Washington, but I'm gonna give them one more week. Seattle's bad. Russell Wilson should have never came back. They should have rocked with Geno Smith he's not healthy. He's not ready to go. He came back those 19 hours of rehab. He's still recovering on lack of sleep. So I'm gonna take Washington football team here on the worst Monday night matchup we could get.
I'm going with Washington because Russ has a better chance of winning this game with the imaginary teammates that he throws to.
Reverse psychology. Give me the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, we can't
work for you the past 2 weeks. You're on the 2-game win streak because coaches stick against Washington. So I get what he's getting there. You got to keep it rolling. When the win streak going, you got to keep whatever you're doing rolling. That's why he got the button up. That's why he got the button up. And I bet he got the Heineke shirt sitting somewhere right next to him. I guarantee.
Well, it is, but it's not in reach. It's not in reach, though. It's not in arm's range. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Screen, it's like your playoffs currently. It's not quite within reach yet, but it's getting there.
Hey, right.
This game is a different conversation.
Hey, superstition is what's needed. Yeah. So we got our final game. We got Dallas and New Orleans on a Thursday night. Who you got, Mo?
Stop playing with me. Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb come back, bro. We killing New Orleans, bro. I'm not even finna do this. My team is not going on a 3-game losing streak because I swear to God, if they do, bro, I might not even be a part of the network. I might go. I might be done talking sports. We go on a 3-game losing streak, losing to the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Saints. Bro, Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb will be back, and we're beating New Orleans handily. Trevor Siemian ain't doing that on our defense. Handily.
Who you got, Kenneth?
Well, I got Dallas, but I hate this game. I really do. I hate that we got back-to-back Thursday nighters, but whatever. I'm taking Dallas.
I think Tony Pollard puts the pressure on Zeke. If you want me to be honest, I think Tony Pollard has a huge game because they say they're not going to play Zeke.
Did you also notice on Thanksgiving how much they were talking about Pollard was the lead back in Dallas? They were really driving home that point at halftime. They were all on that point.
I think Tony Pollard. I just think he puts the pressure on Zeke for next year. Zeke not playing. Well, hopefully he doesn't play. He's been playing with a banged up knee the past 3 weeks, so you could tell because he was playing good the first few weeks. Banged up knee, whatever. But no excuse on why we've been losing. But I think Tony Pollard puts the pressure on Zeke, and we end up winning this game. Big time.
Shout out to Cruz. A WB. Oh yeah. I just hope that Alvin Kamara comes back and Mark Ingram come back. Give me the Saints if they come back.
Yeah, that's fair. Because they haven't looked good though without Kamara.
They gotta have them.
The offense needs that because then they're like, look, we're not even worried about your run game. We're just gonna sit back in zone and good luck, Trevor Siemian picking us apart.
Yeah. So we got you all in time, Mo. So before we head on out, hey, that's what we do here.
Game. It's snowing out there in Ann Arbor. It's snowing out there in the state who must not be named. I've been on my Harry Potter all weekend type stuff. So the team who must not be named over there, that team up north. Listen, you can follow me at Upper Flames Pod on Twitter, Instagram. You can follow me at Mo_Cheese15 Instagram. Anything I say today during the Ohio State-Michigan game or it following has nothing to do with how I have an outlook on the game itself in college football or NFL or any other type of slander or whatever I say. So whatever I say, don't condemn me today because it's a different mindset. We're playing that team, Michigan, and we're going to handle business, baby. Yeah, we're going to handle business. It's big time. I'm about to jump up and down on a broken ankle right now, so we good.
Kenneth, what you got?
Mo giving a public disclaimer about how he's going to be acting on social media today.
Exactly.
That ain't the biggest cop-out I've ever seen, then I don't know what is. You can follow me on all social platforms at Shooters_pod. Go check out my Substack page. Got the daily betting picks there. Went with the Duke money line last night at plus 310 for the, got a little bit of a dough off of that. And got a couple more plays up there for today. It went out about 2 hours ago. It's got 5 plays for the day. No college football because, we up here in Canada, we focusing on them CFL playoffs that are coming up tomorrow. So go Saskatchewan.
Yeah. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Under Couch Coach Live. Also, check out me and my guy Rob on the Washington Football Guys podcast. We're actually doing a special pregame show this Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Definitely looking forward to that. And also just follow me on social media, Facebook, Couch Coach Live, all that. You can check out all my upcoming content and more. So, fellas, once again, appreciate you guys for coming on, especially Mo, in a very intense moment. I know if it was like me and Kenneth said, if Duke Carolina,
an intense own-it.
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah, own it. Yeah, because we know it. Because me and Kenneth already said if Duke and Carolina's playing an hour before, First of all, me and Kenneth probably wouldn't even be able to see each other like eye to eye.
Oh, I'm not on any show. I'm like going dark mode.
College, since we're not talking college football, it was easy for me to get on an hour before, waste the hour leading up to pregame talking.
You don't sit there and torture yourself over
having to think about like 5 shots prior to the game, and it's only I'm on Central Time, so it's only about to be 11 o'clock. So to be like, rolling over drunk at 11 o'clock just isn't a good idea. So get on here and see you.
Right.
Coach, I will say, though, you and I do have to do a live before each UNC Duke game this year.
Oh, I'm with it. I'm with it. Yes.
Okay. Is it going to be a live show of silence? No way y'all are talking to each other.
Yeah, we will.
Keep rolling our eyes about the other one's team.
Competition. You're going to have a staring contest. Who blinks?
But here's the thing. Couch Coach and I have that level of respect where we could come in, talk about our teams, and move on with our day. So it's gonna be all right.
It's love, that's, we don't, like, it's like everybody almost, just for the most part, like when it comes to the rivalries, we can all coexist,
unless it's Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah, right. Then it's
Francis over there trying to cop out. Listen, when that clock hit 0, Ohio State win that game, boy, Francis better go back in the hide like he been doing the past 10 years. I don't think, we not friends today. Like, I know you guys are going to kill us, but hopefully Michigan, don't set yourself up. You getting murdered after the game, all right? And if we lose, don't nobody talk to me because I'm.
When you set yourself up like that, you are not allowed to brag when your team wins. That's the way that it should be. You can't sit there and say, "Oh, we about to get smacked," and then when you win, then you talk your shit.
Yeah,
I talked mine about Duke, and then they pulled it out. Like there was no doubt in my mind that they were winning that game last night.
But I had to check Walker because I was about to bet on Ole Miss. I'm like, they the favorite or Mississippi State the favorites? Hey Walker, what's up with Ole Miss? And he's like, oh, we're gonna get killed. And then here he comes. I'm like, you see how Lane Kiffin? Boy, shut up, bro. I ain't winning no money because you Mississippi State gonna kill it. Boy, shut up. Go back to the highlight, boy. Go keep that same energy while y'all won by double digits.
Let's go off the air before we get too angry at Walker.
Right. So once again, appreciate you fellas for coming on, and the rivalries are real. Definitely appreciate you guys for coming on. Definitely appreciate Rob for chiming in. Appreciate you. And hey, I'm looking forward to these games this week, and we will see you on Sunday, and we'll be back next week. We out.